and welcome to Sunrise Tarot. My name is Leah, and today I will be doing a reading for the sign of Sagittarius. How are you doing, Sagittarius? Do let me know in the comments section how things are going for you. As you know, this is a general reading, so there will be parts that may not resonate. If something does not ring true to you, if something does not resonate with you, leave that part and move on to the next. I've already meditated on the cards. I've already shuffled the cards, and this is the spread that I have for you today. In the past position, we have the Five of Cups, clarified by the Page of Wands. In the obstacle position, we have the King of Wands, clarified by the Moon. In the present position, we have the Four of Pentacles, clarified by the Seven of Wands. And in the future outcome position, we do have the Chariot, clarified by the Three of Swords. So let's get right into it. It does look like in the past there was a bit of a disappointment. There were some regrets as it relates to a connection in your life or to a particular circumstance. Also, you weren't really sure which direction to move in because you do have the Page of Wands in the clarifying position. It seemed to you that there's not really a whole lot to look forward to, and that, you know, opportunities in front of you, possibilities in front of you weren't super exciting to you. You weren't really excited and thrilled, you know, in the direction that you were moving. And so sometimes in life we do have like a reroute that happens to us by the universe, especially when we veer off our path a little bit. The universe finds a way to kind of recalibrate and put us back on the path. When a person veers too far from the path, you know, that can have like a fatal finality, because sometimes people, you know, especially that kind of pass away young, you know, they veer off their path so far that the universe sort of pulls them back and, you know, prepares them to reincarnate and continue on their journey. But, you know, things are put in place so that they kind of try and you know, stick to the path that was agreed upon. Because as you know, before you incarnate into this physical world, you sign a soul contract where you agree to a whole bunch of things, because you are doing all the work. So, you know, of course, when you come into the physical world, you know, you forget, and that is one of the conditions of doing the incarnation, because otherwise it would not be, you know, a test. It's something that you have to, there are challenges that you set for yourself, and that you sort of have to overcome those challenges. And so in the past you did, sorry about veering off, but in the past you did have a bit of a disappointment that you are now actually overcoming, that, you know, the effects of which are kind of still lingering, but you're moving in the right direction. Generally, disappointments are there to get us back onto the path that we are supposed to be going on. Now, in the obstacle position, you do have the King of Wands, clarified by the Moon. This is an interesting combination because the King of Wands generally is a super positive card. When he does appear in the obstacle position, it tells me that you may be kind of setting yourself up for kind of unachievable expectations. You know, you may be looking out, you know, onto the plans that you have, onto the strategies that you have in place, and you may be kind of not being super super logical with the expectations that you have set for yourself. So it's important to remember there's always an unknown factor. There's always an element of the unknown that is associated with, all the connections that you have in your life, all the circumstances that you have in your life. Always leave some room for yourself, because if things go sideways, in that case, you would be better prepared. Sometimes when we have the King of Wands as an obstacle, it means that we're too set in our ways, that we are kind of not being as flexible and as adaptive as we should be in our life. Sometimes we just kind of focus too much on what others are doing, and so we kind of base our expectations, on that, and we try to achieve things based on what others expect rather than what we expect, because sometimes it feels too weird to be yourself, and so you kind of put a face on to please others. It's important to be authentic and to realize that you are enough, and your weirdness, your preferences that sometimes are like, why do you want to do that, or why do you want to go there, or why do you want to say that to a person? It's important to be as authentic to yourself as you can possibly be, and find a way to communicate your weirdness and to others in such a way that it's weird, but that's just what I like. It's important to have strong communication skills, because sometimes people are unable to articulate their position or what they would like to achieve. Communication is very, very important. As long as you practice and hone your communication skills, you will be able to get a lot of things done in your life. If the King of Wands, because in tarot energy is interchangeable, if the King of Wands represents someone else in your life, you could find that there's a person around you who is somewhat overbearing and slightly unpredictable, and that can be difficult energy to deal with. So be patient with yourself and remind yourself that you are not supposed to take on other people's energies. It is not up to you what they think of you. Let them think what they, prefer to think. You stand strong in your own energy. You stand strong in your own beliefs, and don't feel like you have to adapt and be flexible to others, because you can't do it. Eventually it will burn you out. Eventually it will make you feel aggression in, weird places. Because when you suppress your energy, when you suppress your emotions, it will come out in a weird, strange way. So, it's important to be as authentic as you can possibly do, and create distance with energy that can be overbearing and unpredictable, especially when someone thinks they're always right and they have a very black and white view of this world. Generally, people who have a black and white view of this world are not great at communicating. Yes, the world is in fact black and white, but human relationships are not. Human relationships can be grayish. Sometimes you have to tell a white lie in order to not upset someone that you love. Sometimes you have to compromise and negotiate in order to get things moving, and so it's important to realize, yes, it's a very clear line. What is right is right, what is wrong, but at the same same time, sometimes in human interaction, those lines get blurred, and it is okay on a limited basis. I prefer to be as, authentic and as honest as I can possibly be. However, at times you have to remember that there are things you don't know, and there are things that are happening, that you cannot see, that you cannot hear. And so, it's important to remember that you are being as authentic as you can possibly be to yourself, and then, do what you can with the connections that you have in your life. You also have the moon in the clarifying position, which does tell me that you may not be really listening to your intuition. You may be not really kind of getting in touch with the inner voice that comes from within. And in order to hear the inner voice, you have to have silence. We like white noise, we like to distract ourselves, but it is when you have some silence, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, an hour or two is great, where your mind can work out things without you constantly stimulating your mind. So, silence is important in order to get back in touch with your intuition and to get that clarity that the moon as an obstacle hides for you. And so it is important to take a little bit of time to yourself, to drink plenty of water, to take walks in nature so that you can get, in touch with something bigger than yourself, where you can remember that this is a life that you're living, and, lessons that happen to you in that life are actually creating progress for you. In the present position, we have the Four of Pentacles, which tells me you are really tightly holding on to something, and you may be blocking your heart chakra as a result. It's important to remember that energy flows. It comes and it goes. Money flows. It comes and it goes. When you start creating blocks out of fear, when you start controlling things too much, again, out of fear, because, before, why do people want to control connections, circumstances, how things play out, how things happen? It's because they have fear, that an unpredictable event may happen. But you already have the skills, you already have the know-how to handle unpredictability. You are much stronger than you realize. Your mind will guide you in order to achieve the goal. So unpredictability should not be, or the unknown should not be necessarily so difficult for you, because your mind will give you the steps how to walk through the challenge and come out victorious on the other end. And so this card does have a slight negative connotation, because you don't want to hold on to things too much. You don't want to be in a possessive sort of energy, because the more you hoard, the more the chance is that there will be an event where things will be purged, things that you hoard will be purged. And also sometimes when people collect too many things, it's like instead of addressing their emotions, they sort of stuff their emotions with materialistic, look, I'm buying, look, I am, I have this, I have that. It's important to realize that physical things do not bring the happiness that, they may bring happiness in a short form, but it's not long lasting. And so it's important to address your emotions and remember, whether you have things or not, that should not kind of affect your happiness. And holding on to things can eventually kind of become a little bit of an issue, because then it means you're, materialistically inclined, and you're forgetting the spiritual side of things. The spiritual is more important because it is eternal. The materialistic is very temporary, you know. Do people really own their homes? You know, the paper says that they do, but really you live there for a limited amount of time and then you move on. So, you know, the soul obviously remembers and very much is connected to your home, especially if you do courting exercises. But again, it's a temporary shelter in this physical world, which is important to remember. You also have some disagreements because you have the Seven of Wands in the clarifying position, and so there may be kind of some competition that you will be encountering, especially when it comes to your professional side in the month of September, you know, which you, Sagittarius, are very much able to handle because you know your position, you know where you're going, and you are going to be very much successful, especially because you have the Chariot in the future outcome position. Your willpower, your determination is going to help you communicate your position. And the Seven of Wands is a card of being in an advantageous position. So you are already doing well in the month of September. Overall, things on the professional side look good for you because the Four of Pentacles does say that you have status, and it does say that you have a solid position to where you're at, because we do see this person sitting on a throne with a city in the background, you know, and he has kind of nice clothing signifying that he has excelled, you know, in basically where he's at. Now in the future outcome position, you do have the Chariot clarified by the Three of Swords. Don't worry too much about the Three of Swords because it tells me that the Chariot is given to you so that you are in control of your progress, so that you're in control of your movement, so that you're in control in the direction that you're going, and you are going forward. You are moving forward in a victorious way right past this Three of Swords. You are going to ride right past it. Not only that, you're also going to have an opportunity to get back at someone and to sort of say, oh, you tried to hurt me? You know, I am in the Chariot now. I am in charge now. The Chariot is a powerful card, and it is based on Julius Caesar coming home to Rome from, you know, the battle that he has won, and so he's riding in victorious, pushed by two lions, and so you have the power how you want to handle this disappointment that comes as in the form of the Three of Swords. You are able to kind of push forward regardless of it, and really kind of generate more power as a result, because your birthday season is not that far away. You know, we are already in the second part of September, so a couple of more months, and you know, it's several more months, but you know, the Sagittarius birthday season is not that far away, so you're slowly gearing up for that. You're slowly coming into your power. You're slowly kind of tending to your seeds that you have planted over the year. And so the divine here is giving you more power into your hands, so you are able to take control, which is going to give you an advantage. Let's see what we can clarify with an angel and ancestor oracle card, and we do do have Shield Maiden, make plans and focus. Definitely make sure that you strategize, make sure that you formulate a plan that covers all the elements. You know, think about the details, think about things that generally people don't want to think about. As long as you have a strong plan and a strong strategy in place, you will be able to execute it flawlessly. Also, I pulled a Shaman's Dream Oracle card for you, and we have Fool's Embrace, transmuting pain. So you do have two moons. You have the moon in the obstacle position and also the moon in the background of the Fool card, which does tell me that you got to connect with your intuition, and for that, so that it can bring you more clarity about where you are and what's happening. So make sure that you light a candle, make sure you stare at a candle, make sure you clear your mind, make sure you don't put too much noise. I want you to focus on comedy. I want you to focus on things that are distracting but also uplifting, uplifting of your vibration. I want you to look at funny things, read funny things, watch funny things, so that your vibration is increased, your frequency is increased, because then you will be able to allow the intuition to kind of start sending messages, and you'll start to be able to see what those messages really are, because sometimes we do fool ourselves. You know, sometimes we do have expectations that are a little bit beyond what we're able to reach. And so, you know, in order to see things as they truly are, you have to kind of look around on the inside. And the Doors were named because I think Jim Morrison said the Doors were named the Doors, the band, because he took he read a poem. I forget who it was by. I think Blake. He wrote. He read a poem where it said, "If the doors of the perception were cleansed, the world would appear as it is, infinite." Something along those lines. It may not be super accurate, but I am pretty sure it's something along those lines. And so it's important to remember that the moon is all about how you feel on the inside. And when there's tension on the inside, that means you're not aligned. That means your heart is pulling one way, your mind is pulling another way, and your spiritual side is just like hanging out, you know, on a tree somewhere, waiting, you know, for you to wake up. And so it's important, waiting for you to kind of get back into balance, basically. And so it's important to be in alignment. It is important to look at the situation you're working with clear eyes and see what you can do. There's always ideas. There's so much out there that you can do. It's important to surround yourself with the right people. The right people may not always be the most pleasant ones, the most nice ones, but the right people will tell you exactly how you are and where you are, and you, as a result, you will have more clarity. And remember, when things are a little bit challenging, that means there's a reward coming at you. That means you're doing something right. So I hope you enjoyed this reading, dear Sagittarius. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for visiting my channel, and I'll see you next time.